From Jubilee Studios. Today we're going to talk about stabilizers. Stabilizer is the one thing that can make or break your embroidery project. So it's important to make sure that you get the right stabilizer for each project. As you can see, there's a lot to choose from. I have several here. I have wash away stabilizers. You'll see one is like a plasticky kind of wash away. You put these on top of like toweling and fleece, anything with a pile to it. This one is also a wash away. Now, these were purchased by the yard from Joann's or Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure which. And you'll notice they always come with these little instruction sheets. I always pin these to my stabilizer so that I never forget what kind it is, because sometimes you can get a little overwhelmed with it and you'll forget what kind you have. This is a sticky back stabilizer. I tried this once and did not like it. This comes in little boxes by the stabilizers and interfacings in your store. This gummed up my needle. Some people love it. I did not like it at all, so I will never use that one again. I have tearaway stabilizers here. Now, I purchased these on these big rolls from Amazon. Sorry. This is a 10 by 100 yard roll, and I believe it was about $20. And you know, 2-day shipping, you can't beat that, because I live in the middle of nowhere, and so I have to order online a lot. I use this tearaway more than anything else in most of my projects. This is a mesh cutaway, and you can see it's very soft, it's very pliable. This works very well on the backs of t-shirts, especially for children, because it won't be itchy next to their skin. And then we have our cutaway stabilizers. Now, this is a 4-yard little mini bolt from Joann's, $8, and you get 4 yards. It's a pretty good deal. And this one's a cutaway, and they have different ones. And the way you'll know embroidery stabilizers from other interfacings is that they have a blue label on them when you go to the store to get them cut. So always look for that blue label when you're looking for stabilizers. This is a heavyweight cutaway, and you can see it's very thick. It's like a heavyweight butcher paper almost. Don't try to use butcher paper though. Always use correct stabilizers for your machines. And one little other tip, after you open these large rolls, they only have their label on the outside of the plastic. So a little tip that I have for you is I put a piece of tape on the inside. I write what type of stabilizer it is, and then I tape it inside there so I don't forget. Because sometimes you'll start looking at these and you'll wonder, what the heck is that for? Now, I even have a little cheat sheet, so I'll tell you, and I will type this up, and this will be available online on my YouTube channel so that you can print it out and reference it whenever you need it. For fleece items, mesh, cutaway, medium tearaway, medium cutaway are the best. T-shirts, you've got the mesh cutaway. Also, a light cutaway works as well. There's also a thing called cloud cover, and you iron that onto the back of your embroidery projects after you finished it on the back of t-shirts. It also creates a little softening time for little children. Now, it does wash off after about 3 washings, but typically your embroidery is softened up after that, so it won't be itchy anymore. For denim, a medium to heavy cutaway works best. For terry, such as towels, you'd use a medium to heavy tearaway with the washable on top, because again, if you try to just embroidery right on top of this toweling, all of your stitches are going to fall right down in all these loops, and you won't get a good stitch out at all. You'll be very upset. For wovens, such as cotton dresses and such, you would use a light to medium tearaway. That works best. And then for delicate fabrics, which delicate fabrics don't get sewn much in my studio because my little girls need clothes that are going to stand up to the test of time. But on those, you can buy a washable mesh, or there's also transparent stabilizers. I don't have any of those to show you an example of. But that's a quick and dirty listing of all the stabilizers that you can use. It takes time and just practice to determine what works best for you, what you like best, and what your machine likes best, most importantly. My machine is very temperamental, so once I find something that works, I stick with that, and I tend to use it for most of my projects. Now what I'm going to do is show you how to hoop a towel. And basically what I do is I don't actually hoop the towel inside of my hoop. I actually do what they call is floating, which is I lay it on top. And I'm going to show you how to get a good stable hooping with that when you do float something. All right, so I've got my stabilizer hooped. I just cut a strip off of my roll. And you can see, remember from our last video, this is my dedicated adhesive spray hoop. I have two hoops, and one is very clean and one is not. So I normally would not do this near my machine. I have an extra space where I do my cutting and everything like that, and I would spray this out there. But just for video purposes, I'm just going to show you real quick in here. So I just do a couple little squirts there. It does not smell good, so make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. I take my towel, make sure that you have the wrong side on the bottom, and I would line it up with my notches, make sure it's centered, push it down, and then I take pins, hold it where I hold on the top, because if you're not careful, this is a tearaway, so you'll push right through the stabilizer if you're not careful. So I push my pin in, I balance it underneath with my finger so that I can guide it to come out at the top. And I would just put a few pins around this edging before I start my design on it so that I make sure that it's good and secure and it's not going to shift. Now, for my tip for today, I'm going to show you what I do when I hoop a onesie. Now, onesies can be very intimidating, but believe it or not, that was one of my first projects, was a onesie. I wanted to just tackle them very quickly. So what I do is, the first thing is I cut up the side seam. Now I do have a serger, so you'll need a serger or sewing machine to be able to put this back together. And sometimes I cut all the way through the sleeve, sometimes not. Just depends on what size the onesie is. This is a 6-month onesie, so it's a little easier to use. I'm going to grab my hoop here and just take the towel off. You see how that's just very lightly tacky, so the towel pulls right off. So it's very, very easy to use. I would put my hoop inside of this onesie, and I would use a little of the adhesive spray. Now, I'm not lining this up or anything. When we do an actual onesie design in one of the future videos, I will do all of that for you. So I just lay it down flat, and again, take some pins. Make sure that you're not putting your pins where your design is going to go, because your machine does not like pins, I promise you. And ask me how I know. I learned everything the hard way. So after I get it all pinned down, and make sure you have sharp pins because they will tend to pull at your knit, I just fold this up, and I use either pins or a Wonder Clip and pin this up out of the way, because if you turn your head or anything, this is going to get caught in your machine and you'll have a mess. So just pin all of this up out of your way to where your blank is all ready to go. Put this into your machine, you're good to go. And that's the best way to do a onesie. Once you're finished with it, take it off. Just stitch up that side. You can use your serger, or you can use the cover stitch on your regular machine, and it'll stitch it all right back together, and nobody will ever know your trick. So thanks for watching today. Hope you learned a little bit about stabilizers. I will put the cheat sheet up so that you can print it off. And remember to please like and subscribe.